welcome Egg County Industrial Development Agency. We do have a quorum, so we'll start the meeting. To start off the meeting, not on the agenda, but wanted to let everybody know that Sarah has just become a certified economic developer. Hey, Tom.
Hi.
Come on in. So I'll start all over again. So you missed about 5 seconds here. So anyways, yes, let everybody know that Sarah has now become a certified economic developer that she's been working on over the last, 3 years here, plus experience before she came here. Needs at least 4 years of experience. It's really a combination of real-world professional experience, professional development, sort of like the other professional degrees, CPA, engineering, where you've got to have the prerequisites, examination, continuing education, that type of thing. So from what I hear, it's the most prestigious designation in the economic development profession. So it is recognized worldwide, and again, I'd like to have the board congratulate Sarah on attaining that.
Things will all run smoothly now, everything will go perfect.
That's it.
It's not a silver bullet.
It isn't. So, with that, first item on the agenda is the IDA meeting minutes of May 4th. Everyone received a copy in their packet. Is there any modifications to this? Hearing none, could I have a motion to approve?
So made.
Second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No. Motion carried. Second item is the IDA financial statements. So I think, Ben, you're kicking this off?
Well, I'll still defer to Bob because I'm getting up to speed.
Mr. Moore's suggestion that we include graphics along with the actual statement. And my plan is to go forward with these graphs on an ongoing basis. You'll get them every month, along with notes, which I also prepared on a monthly basis.
The graphs are on the tables because they came with the briefing memo, just so you're not looking at them.
So. In reviewing the graphs, it's a graph which compares the assets for different time frames. In this case, April of 2023, March of 2023, and April of 2022 on a comparative basis. We also have a graph which depicts the liabilities and equity on a comparison basis. Again, for the March of 2023 and April of 2022, along with a P&L comparison for, again, the periods of April of 2023, March 2023, April 2022, along with the budget totals for 2023 as well. Are there any questions relating to those particular documents?
So at this point, it seems we're on the expenses, income, because of the Trilene and other projects. Yeah, still waiting for that to go.
Some of that is still slower. We have collected some agency fees this year. Things on the actual balance sheet detail that are maybe a little bit different than other months. So because of the timing of some of the pilots coming in and out, you'll notice that our pass-through cash for April is approximately $244,000 higher than it was in March. You'll see that reflected on the liability side because that's the money that's coming in from the companies and getting paid out to the municipalities for their pilot agreements. That's really the only sort of significant item that I would point out, I think on the balance sheet, just for everybody to take note of. Everything else did receive in the agency fee for the Wilkins project this year. So you'll see that on the profit and loss statement. That's what the agency fee income is that's shown for March.
So any questions for Bob? Hearing none, can I have a motion to approve the financial statements?
So moved.
Second? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion approved. Next item on the agenda is a discussion of the IDA project evaluation process that we discussed a little bit before, but looking at more of the details.
So we've had some of this discussion before about projects and how we determine what types of incentives to other, and something that we've been thinking about over time is ways to essentially make our approach to projects a little bit more business friendly. And what I mean by that is proposing an actual set of a standard pilot or incentive schedule that's, made available to companies that fit sort of basic IDA project criteria as outlined in state general municipal law. That is pretty broad. Obviously, projects would still need to come to the IDA board for assistance, but the idea is that, if you meet sort of the basic criteria, you come to the board, you all, like the project, then here's sort of what our standard pilot is. For the projects that I would say maybe don't hit any of the sort of extra priorities as outlined in the strategic plan or in any other, town comprehensive plans, county comprehensive plan, any of that kind of thing. What I would say is then putting together a set of criteria to evaluate projects once they meet in sort of the general eligibility. So, they are either some sort of tourism, manufacturing, industrial use, solar, whatever. If they meet sort of that basic criteria, then they would go for further evaluation to determine, is this maybe what we would term a priority project? And by that, I would mean things that are along targeted development corridors. For example, Route 318 was identified in the strategic plan as a target development corridor. The Army Depot has been identified as a target. Willard is a target. If it's a project in, say, a downtown area where we want to do downtown revitalization, if it's in a brownfield site, historic preservation or like adaptive reuse of an existing site, those could be considered priorities. Projects that create jobs or have significant job retention investment, projects that do housing for target populations, so if that's workforce housing, senior housing, those kinds of things. Projects could be priorities based on the use. So while we may approve incentives for a broader range of projects, maybe the priority ones are still sort of in the IDA niche of being more traditional manufacturing or mixed use or agriculture, food production, craft beverage processing, that kind of thing. What else do we have here? And then some of the other factors that we were looking at would be, how do we make sure that we're incentivizing and encouraging business growth, especially in underserved populations, so minorities, women's, veteran-owned businesses. The list could go on, but we kind of put together a comprehensive, okay, here are the areas based on the strategic plan and some of the other things that we've been prioritizing as a community that we think would merit additional consideration. And if we were to evaluate project management. So that's the proposal that is before you. There's sort of the 6 overarching criteria. So the location factors, which I've talked about, the project use, the investment thresholds, the employment thresholds, what we're calling sort of the community factors. That's also includes things like companies, the county median wage. You know, so good paying jobs versus, you know, sort of the really low wage entry level jobs are gonna be significantly contributing to public infrastructure upgrades that benefit other growth in the area. And then the last overarching one was sort of the competition of what, you know, is this business locally owned and headquartered? Or is this a project that's, you know, seriously evaluating other locations? You know, do we need